favorite thing to do is to point things out that people can clearly see and saying that you don't see them. For instance, if you see that my lipstick's messed up, no you don't. Anyway, hi and welcome back. Today we are going to read chapter 5 and 6 of Still Into You. We are coming to the end. It's 10 chapters and I don't know if I can read this much to you. I will try my best. So, you know, if you like videos like this, make sure to give it a big old thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this, comment down below what fanfictions you want me to read to you. Also, we, as a family, me and you, have to decide what we're gonna do for 10K. I want to do something for 10K on YouTube because I feel like that's a really big milestone. It's crazy that I even have 7K on here. It's just truly mind-blowing. I think I'm at like 7.6, which is like wild because we're so close to 8K. But you guys have to help me decide what you want me to do for 10K. I'm also still doing that thing. Go comment on the unboxing video who you want me to cosplay next. I gave you guys 6 shows to pick from. Pick any characters from the 6 shows, and whoever you say and whatever one wins is who I will cosplay next. We have to decide what we're gonna do for 10K, what you guys want me to do for 10K. So let me know. I love you so much, and let's just hop right on into it, shall we? So we are reading Still Into You by Stable Biscuit 20 on Archive of Our Own. If you haven't watched the other parts yet, go back and watch because you're probably won't understand what's going on right now. But it's our good old little Bakudeku fanfic, so let's just hop right into it. We are on chapter 5. Why did I say it like that? 5. This is rose-colored boy. If you hear that noise, it's because it's my cats are eating. They're munching. It's dinner for them. Katsuki's body was cold and limp in Midoriya's arms as he sprinted through the city. Headed for Recovery Girl's clinic, Izuku did his best to keep his composure as he felt blood soak through his gloves and drip down his arms. But it felt as though his grief was choking him. He nearly hyperventilated as his feet pounded against the pavement beneath him. His lungs begging for air they just couldn't seem to get. After every block he ran, he pressed his ear to Bakugo's chest, listening for a pulse and watching for a gentle rise and fall. Please, Kacchan, please just hold on. As Izuku approached the gates of UA, he leapt over the fence and ran across campus as fast as his legs could carry him. The green-haired hero pressed his face against Katsuki's sternum again, this time hearing nothing but a faint but deafening silence. Oh my god, I forgot how like this is so like stressful. Midoriya rarely swore, but his filter disappeared as he wept. Oh, please, Kacchan, please just hold on. I'm begging you, please don't leave me. By the time Izuku made it to Recovery Girl, his typically white gloves were stained a deep shade of crimson, and he felt tears in his eyes. He panted as he pounded on the clinic door, screaming, "Recovery Girl, it's me, Deku! Kacchan, it's hurt really badly. Please open up. Oh my god, please!" His hands moved desperately across Katsuki's stomach, attempting to stop the bleeding. As Izuku slid his fingers underneath the blonde shirt and applied pressure, he nearly vomited, feeling nothing but mush under his palm where toned abs should have been. Katsuki's eyelid fluttered gently as Recovery Girl swung the door open. Izuku heard the blonde's voice barely choke out the name. "Deku? I'm here, Kacchan." Midoriya sobbed openly, hot wet tears spilling onto his cheek. "This isn't how I imagined getting the second base," Katsuki whispered, a ghost of a smile filtering across his face. Izuku laughed, then cried harder as Recovery Girl pulled Bakugo from his arms. Midoriya forcing himself to release the grip on the other hero. "Oh my goodness," she said, taking inventory of Katsuki's injuries. "I'll take care of you, my boy." As she began placing pecks on Bakugo, the bleeding gradually subsided, and Izuku felt the weight on his chest begin to lighten. She laid Katsuki on the clinic bed gently, Midoriya rushing to his side. As Midoriya looked down on the man, he felt stunned by how fragile he looked. Bakugo never, ever looked weak, but as he curled in on himself, soaked in blood, he reminded Midoriya of the same 5-year-old he grew up with. Staring at the blonde, it felt as though Izuku's heart was shattering into even smaller pieces. Something he didn't even know was possible after spending the last 2 weeks binge eating ice cream and crying about Todoroki and Bakugo. He just couldn't get the image or the sounds of them each other out of his head. That's really cute. Izuku had come home early that day to attempt to ask Bakugo on a date, only to spend the evening listening to the headboard bashing against the wall, stifled sounding moans filling the apartment. The worst part, that while it was breaking his heart, it had simultaneously turned him on, which was somehow the icing on top of the cake that was his life. Izuku felt himself simmering with anger as he remembered that evening, but as he looked down at the helpless blonde whimpering on the clinic's bed in pain, it melted away. I guess I'll forget about it for now, Izuku thought to himself, but later I'm gonna let him have it. This chapter makes me so mad. Like, I genuinely get angry at this chapter because like, Izuku has no right to be mad at Bakugo for what did he expect Bakugo to do? Like, wait for him forever? No, like, you literally didn't talk to him for 5 years. Oh my god, I can go on forever. Wow, it really angers me. He reached his hand out, interlacing his fingers with Bakugo, and pulled the other man's knuckles to his lips, placing a gentle kiss on them. "I've got you," he whispered. "Always." "I've got you always. Where were you for 5 years? "Well," Recovery Girl said, "I got him as patched up as I could. He'll still have quite a bit of bruising, and his stomach, although the wound is sealed, it's still very fragile. You should take him home and have him take a shower. No submerging in water to clean off the blood and dirt. If any of the injuries get infected, we'll have a much bigger problem. Izuku nodded, taking note of all her directions. Oh, and Izuku, if you had been even a couple minutes later, he probably wouldn't have made it. When he wakes up, please tell him not to be so reckless. I'll call you a car. Go straight home, mister. She walked away, shaking her head and muttering under her breath about those damn kids. Izuku looked at Bakugo, sleeping peacefully on the bed. His heart felt both pain and joy as he took in the sight before him, unable to stop thinking about the moment he thought Katsuki might have been gone for good. As the car arrived, he scooped up the blonde into his arms and climbed into the back seat, laying Katsuki's head on his lap and raking his fingers through his light-colored strands. I think about that specific line, every single day of my life. Because what I would do to be Bakugo. Bakugo awoke to the smell of pennies and vanilla and felt gentle digits combing through his hair. He kept his eyes closed, enjoying the sensation. Katsuki knew the scent of vanilla very well. Stupid Deku, he always had to use vanilla soap. He wanted to soak up the closest for as long as he could. The smell of copper didn't surprise him either. The last thing Bakugo remembered was looking down and seeing Izuku's hands covered in blood, pressing desperately to his stomach. I know you're awake, Kachan, Midoriya whispers. We're almost to our apartment building. Katsuki feigning innocence, fluttering his eyelashes and keeping his eyes shut. Izuku bit back a laugh. We've had approximately 1,000 sleepovers in elementary school. I can tell when you're fake sleeping. You always wanted me to fall asleep first so you could do some terrible thing to prank me, remember? Bakugo couldn't help but smile, blowing his cover and opening his eyes completely. Remember when I made you pee with that bucket of warm water? Katsuki's throat was dry and scratchy as he spoke, and his voice sounded terrible, but Izuku was so glad to hear the man talking and joking with him that he didn't care. Yeah, then you made fun of me for peeing the bed for like 3 months. How could I forget? Izuku snorted and then said, come on, Kachan, we're here. The car slowed to a stop in front of the familiar building. Katsuki attempted to sit up from his place in the green-haired man's lap and groaned in pain. That hurts, Deku. Here, let me help you, Izuku said, scrambling out of the car and coming to the other side, allowing Katsuki to use his body as leverage to stand. You've got it, he said, encouragingly as Bakugo whimpered in agony. Midoriya felt the other man's legs steady against the ground and allowed him to lean almost all his weight against him.
Oi, Deku, be my king.
Nikki has left the chat. Oh, oi, Deku, be my king. Midoriya felt the other man's leg steady against the ground and allowed him to lean almost all his weight against him. I've got you, he whispered reassuringly. I can carry you if you want. I'm not some princess, Katsuki grumbled, secretly pleased that Midoriya would offer. They hobbled slowly towards the apartment, a sharp wince emitting from Bakugo with each step he took. When the duo finally made it to Bakugo's door, he turned and smiled at Midoriya. Thanks for taking me home, Deku. Whoa, 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 Kachan. If you think I'm letting you go in there alone, you're even crazier than I thought, Izuku said accusatorily. You are in no shape to be by yourself. I thought you were pissed at me, Katsuki said, eyebrow raised. Oh, I am, and when you aren't going to die on me, I'm gonna kick your ass. But for now, I'm keeping you company, Izuku stated firmly, opening the door and shepherding Katsuki into his apartment. Bakugo sighed as he heard the resolve in Deku's voice. When he sounded like that, there was no using reasoning with him. With the loud click, the door closed behind them, and the blonde reached over and flipped on the light switch. Midoriya's eyes widened. Kachan, your place is, well, spotless. There was no trash in sight and everything was so neat and tidy. The apartment was very Bakugo-esque, all sharp, harsh angles, and deep colors. The walls were dark red and the furniture was all black and white. Posters were framed and hanging, most of them signed. A TV graced the living room, surrounded by all of the latest gaming systems, most of them with a thin coating of dust as if they were never used. It was surprisingly minuscule for such a well-compensated hero. It was clear that Katsuki only kept things around that had purpose. Izuku's mouth dropped when he saw a rare All Might poster displayed proudly in the kitchen. Everything in there was bright white, and the room looked as though it had never been cooked in. Above the couch, however, holding a place of importance, was a huge print of pro hero Deku. Izuku's voice was incredulous, and as he stared at the enormous version of himself, matted and framed on the wall. Bakugo's face reddened as he stumbled over the words. It went well with the furniture. I mean, yeah. He chuckled awkwardly, rubbing his neck. I kept up with you too, idiot. Izuku couldn't help but grin. And Bakugo coughed uncomfortably. I'm gonna take a shower. Help yourself to the fridge. Suddenly, getting serious, Izuku knit his eyebrows. Are you sure you'll be okay? You can barely stand, Kachan. Bakugo rolled his eyes. I'm taking a shower, not running a fucking marathon. Besides, I know you want to play my video games. The blonde took a step away from Midoriya and put all of his weight on his feet. His side screamed in pain. His whole abdomen throbbed, stopping him in his tracks with a loud groan. Kachan, please let me help you, Izuku pleaded, eyes wide with worry. Ugh, fine. Just help me get in. I can handle the rest. Bakugo mumbled, embarrassed. Alright, the green hair hero relented, sounding flustered at the idea of helping Katsuki into the shower. but please be careful. Izuku paused for a moment, then continued, and when you're in the shower, could I grab some clean clothes? He gestured down at his blood-soaked hero suit. Bakugo nodded, gesturing in the direction of his room. Help yourself. They might be a little big on you, but you're welcome to them. Now help me get to the bathroom, please. I just need to get this disgusting clothes off of me. I smell like a dumpster fire that someone poured shit out onto. Midoriya laughed and kept his arm wrapped around Katsuki's shoulder, leading him back down the hallway towards the master suite. As they made it to the bathroom, Bakugo's breaths were labored, audibly gasping with each step. Sit here. Midoriya pointed to the closed toilet seat. I'll help you with your clothes. Katsuki waggled his eyebrow. Waggled his eyebrow suggestively. Gonna undress me, huh, Deku? Can it, Kachan? Izuku said firmly, attempting to push down the butterflies in his stomach as he watched the blonde lower himself into a seated position. Steeling himself, Midoriya squatted in front of Katsuki's knees, reaching up to help peel the blood-soaked tank top off of the other man, who groaned as he lifted his arms above his head. Once the shirt was off, Katsuki reached down, fumbling with the buttons on his pants, and Izuku sucked in a sharp breath as he heard the sound of Bakugo's zipper lowering. Oh, it's getting a little spicy, huh? Get it together, Izuku, he thought to himself, trying to keep his hands from shaking. Izuku reached his fingers up to Katsuki's thighs, wiggling the pants down a little, avoiding all eye contact. When the blonde was fully undressed, except for his boxers, Midoriya stood, reaching out a hand to help Bakugo up. And as Katsuki rose from the seat, it was Izuku's turn to stare at the man in front of him. Even with bandages wrapping Bakugo's midsection, you could still see the taunt muscles undulating beneath them. His skin was pale white, adorned with scars, each one telling a silent story about the blonde's heroics. Katsuki's arms were well built, calluses scattered across his hands and wrists from years of explosions. A sizable we're gonna talk about Katsuki now. A sizable bulge swelled out from beneath his boxers, bigger than Midoriya remembered seeing in the locker rooms of UA, and his thighs were ridiculously muscular, gracing a multitude of beautiful tattoos. I do not remember him having tattoos. Of beautiful tattoos that Deku had never seen before. Izuku gulped audibly as he took in the other man's form. Oh my god. Izuku felt like his brain was in overdrive as an abundance of very, very inappropriate images assaulted his mind. Katsuki cleared his throat, smirking. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying the view. I'd really like to shower, Deku. I smell like a dumpster fire, remember? Midoriya stumbled over his words, sputtering, Oh yeah, of course, I'm sorry. Let me help you in. He reached his arm out and steadied Bakugo's midsection, walking him towards the shower. Izuku felt strong muscles and soft, milky skin beneath his fingers, just like he had been dreaming of for years. As he tried to focus on something, literally anything else, he felt his blood draining from the rest of his body and going straight to his groin. Now we're gonna talk about Izuku. Great. You totally don't smell like a dumpster fire, by the way. Izuku huffed. All he could smell was nitroglycerin, blood, and the deep woodsy smell of fire that was so totally, completely Katsuki. He was hyper aware of how warm the blonde's flesh was underneath his palms, how tender and tempting his body was, and the sensation washing over Midoriya was downright sinful. Get it together, Izuku, he told himself for the second time that night. As they made it to the shower, Izuku released the other man, who slowed and turned back to him. Thanks, Deku. Bakugo's voice dripped with sexuality. Even while he was in pain, he was one smooth motherfucker. Katsuki reached in and started the shower. His hands crept down to the waistband of his boxers and he glanced over his shoulder at Izuku. Now you can go, unless you want to show. The blonde's ruby eyes sparkled playfully as he pulled down his underwear shamelessly. Izuku blushed and turned around, quickly fleeing from the bathroom, but not before he took one last look back and saw Katsuki's firm. He's gonna be the death of me, Midoriya thought, feeling his pants shift uncomfortably over his chin. Oh god, I love it here. As he stepped into the shower, Bakugo shook his head, laughing to himself. He's gonna be the fucking death of me. Oh! This is so cute. That's all we're gonna read for today, so come back next Sunday for chapter 6 and we'll figure out what's gonna happen with Izuku and Bakugo. Is it gonna get a little spicy? I don't know. Well, I know, but you don't. Anyway, I love you guys so much. Remember to stay safe, do your homework, and drink water, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!